Tata Consumers has made two acquisitions. One is Capital Foods for an enterprise value of 5,100 crores, and other is Organic India for 1,900 crores. Now, yes, to talk more about that today, in terms of we have the management of and founder of Capital Foods, Ajay Gupta, joining in with us on the phone line. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for joining in with us this morning on ET Now. And, I want to start by talking about the deal that has come in. Okay, 5,100 crores, 75% is what Tata Consumers has acquired right now, and the remaining will be acquired over a period of 3 years. So that remaining 25%, is there any specific criteria in terms of the performance that is required for the company? Or is it just a process that will be happening, or what is the criteria there?
No, it's a process. It's a process that will happen over the next 3 years. We continue being the business to mentor the brands in the next 3 years. That's the whole idea.
Ajay, morning. Also, I just wanted to understand
Morning.
what the outlook is in terms of Capital Foods. Of course, the very popular brands that you operate in are known. That is Ching's Secret, Smith& Jones. But what kind of turnover have you clocked in for the year gone by? What kind of financials would you like to share with us?
So we've done around 800 crores, 870 crores turnover, and we operate at 55% gross margin. So we have a high gross margin. Our challenge has been growing distribution, general trade distribution in the country, and that's where TCPL comes in with their distribution reach. We'll be able to multiply the business tenfold in the next 2 years. That's the way we see it.
Just you said 10 folds is what you could grow your business.
In terms of distribution, correct? In terms of distribution.
Okay, in terms of distribution. Then in terms of revenue, obviously in the last 3 years, what we're looking at it in terms of the numbers that are there in the press release, that says around a CAGR growth of 20%. How much more upside do you see in terms of revenue, right? Obviously, if distribution is growing, where would we see the revenue headed as well? And what do you see in terms of growth trajectory that you have that one could expect then from Capital Foods?
So the way we see this is we've over the last 12 years, we've grown at around 20% year on year. We believe with the strength of the distribution of TCPL coming into play now, we will see upward of 30-35% growth year on year for the next few years. And that really comes out of distribution. And then one is general trade distribution. TCPL is very strong in e-commerce, which is an evolving distribution channel. So there's a lot of synergies that are going to come into play in the coming few months.
Some on the street, Ajay, are talking this valuation a little bit pricey. Can you just give us maybe your outlook on what the conversations were with respect to valuations, how you would really like to justify it?
Frankly, from our perspective, these are very fair valuation to a business that is niche, was a niche that has evolved to become a mass distribution product. Iconic brands. As soon as the scale of distribution hits in, with the 55% gross margin plus the synergies coming into play, so we're looking at 300 to 400 basis point coming in further into the gross margin. So from that perspective, we see this as a really fair value that we got from the market, from TCPL.
You did touch upon a bit in terms of the gross margins and what you're expecting in terms of addition over there. But specifically in terms of EBITDA margins also, could you highlight in terms of the synergies that one could actually see, other than obviously the trade discounts? What are the other synergies that we could see on the margin front, if you could give us a perspective there?
So we operate through a super stockist in between. So that's a area that get cut off, and from the CFA we'll go straight to distribution. That's 3.5% margin that directly gets to the bottom line. Plus there are synergies in terms of why do we need two organizations. So there's a whole lot of synergies that will come into play here. There's a large part in the exports market as well, where Desi Chinese is large. We've been available in most of the large markets, but TCPL has their own offices and teams in most of the large countries in the world, and that also is going to add a huge value to our business.
Stand from you then, we're a little bit curious as to whether or not the growth outlook was looking promising, because you had gone ahead and said that you are growing very smartly. The growth rate is strong. So question is, why the exit then? Was it a lack of funds maybe? Was that a reason?
No, we are a profitable company with money in the bank. So ours was the two P funds in the business. The funds needed exit. I'm also at 58, and I have nobody. I have daughters who are not interested in the business. So it was a long-term plan for me as well. At some point, I needed to take an exit. So it's really coming from there.
Okay, and Ajay, I just want to understand in terms of the positioning of instant noodles, right? That was not something that had picked up pace. So, in terms of where is the positioning of instant noodles and what is the growth that one could see there? Given the distribution, do you think that's a synergy or a growth driver that could work out as well?
So we have been a distinctly different instant noodle brand in the country, playing in the flavor aspect of instant noodles. We don't do the typical masala. And we've been waiting for the market to change. And that's what's happened. There's a huge premiumization on instant noodles that's happened in the last 1 year. We actually come into play now. We've been 15 rupees MRP against the competition being at 10 at some point, which is 50% higher price point. But we're seeing now that play coming into force. And with the distribution of TCPL, we also see a growth coming in instant noodle category. Though, frankly speaking, we've not done a large play on instant noodle over the last few years. Our core has been the Szechuan chutney, the Chinese masalas that we've been aggressively growing.
Urban rural mix.
All right, good to have you on board. Thanks so much for taking time out and joining in. All right, that's the word coming in from Tata Capital, getting their take on the side of the transaction. Confident that, the business is growing at a very strong rate. I think he spoke about an 800 crore rupee revenue growth as well, and they expect to now grow 10x with the distribution from Tata Consumer products.